You know, I lived in a different part of town.
I'm redoing the sign that it needed to be done. I donate my time, and Teatro is always in our blood, man. And San Juan is my home, and give me the time to give my little give back with my man here. You know?
What's the history of the sign for El Teatro? And you know, it's obviously a big part of the the signature sign here.
This was done after, I don't know what the exact timing on this one
Sure.
was, but the original goes back to the 80s.
Oh, okay.
The original.
When they first moved here, the one that's up above.
Yeah.
And did you do that? Negro?
Yeah, Arturo Gomez, who lives in San Jose. He was our first artist. This guy was learning from him, and he became, like, at the time we had artist component of the Teatro. We did all our own posters. And
I was fortunate to go to Mexico City with Teatro, the first tour that Teatro went, and with the Mascarones in Mexico City. I was able to meet the last Mexican mural artist, David Sequeiros, who was, I mean, I wish I had that picture that he gave me. We went to this incredible maze to get to his home, and he invited us to his home with a bunch of other Chicano artists.
See, there were four major artists during the Mexican Revolution that more or less did murals in capturing the history.
And Rivera Sequeiros, Orozco, Tamayo, these heavy Mexican artists that set the stage. Rivera set the stage. Sequeiros was one of he spent 8 years in prison for shooting Trotsky.
You ever seen
heavy communist?
There's a mural in Mexico City, and it's very famous, where there's a big fish coming out of the wall.
I think so, yeah.
That's
Sequeiros.
And
power.
Yeah.
I shook his hand, and it was like power.
And we had wine at his house.
Big, huge man, and he was all white gray, and he came to the Teatro. We had a performance at Casa Largo, and he came. He came, and he came up to Luis and shook his hand. I mean, Luis was like, oh my God, man.
What kind of conversation? Did you have any kind of conversation with him?
Yeah, he did. He spoke perfect English. He was very gentle. He says, "Oh, where are you from?" And I told him, "What part of California you're from?" And he knew a lot of, you're talking to this worldly giant, and you're sitting talking and drinking wine. He's laughing and said, "You are the next generation of pintores," and carry on the torch. Basically, I was 21 years old. I totally overwhelmed, but I felt the power from that guy. Yeah, the hand, that's just huge, But he gave us an audience.
Yeah.
Which was unheard of.
Somewhere I have a black and white negative of a picture I took.
Yeah, we have to pull that out.
In my archives.
He took a lot of pictures at the time, but that whole trip was total whole enlightenment to go to Mexico. Went to the university, to the Anthropology Museum, and all that whole thing was just thrown at me. Coming from Hollis to San Juan Bautista, Hollis to High. Who knew? I'm at the university, didn't want to be there, and here, like I said, it was a trip to remember forever, and we talk about it all the time. The opportunities we never thought we have from being with Luis, and I moved on. I just became a commercial artist, signage.
Right.
I wanted to do all the lost arts, like freehand painting and lettering and murals and all the hard stuff.
Yeah.
And
how'd you guys connect on? Go ahead.
It comes at an opportune time, because we get the new production, little plug here. This is a fundraiser for Viva la Casa, the next production. So here we have our brand new show, which, revived.
When is the fundraiser?
And here we are,
August 4th.
Doing a new sign, and comes at the right time, so it's a whole momentum. You can feel it all happening.
What does it mean to get somebody with history with El Teatro and Hollister and San Juan to be able to sort of recreate the sign and the image of the...
Well, I wouldn't expect anything less, because that's the way we were trained, that's the way we were raised. We got to give back what we got, and it's his turn.
How did you guys connect on this?
I showed up last Monday because it was my mother's birthday.
Right.
On Sunday, she's going to turn 90. And one thing led to another for my friend Rosa, and I was visiting other friends here. And she says, would you do this for me? And I said, I would do anything for you. She said, can you paint the sign? I jumped on it, went and got wood, and just put it together. So now I'm just finalizing it, put the time in, make it similar to the one that it is now. And, just put the time in and get her done.
And you said you go through that freehand process. What was that like with this sign? You mostly replicating the sign like you said?
Yeah, just replicate it, lay it out, freehand, just cut it in there and measure it out, and then, instead of taping everybody else, tapes everything out. Nah, it's not gonna work. I use some tape, but a lot of it, that's the fun part of it. I can just make it look like natural.
Yeah.
So that's the point now where it doesn't take me long to do it.
So just how do you guys know each other?
Stumbled upon you in
1971.
1971.
Yeah.
And I was at UC Santa Cruz, and I met Luis. He was teaching at the university, and I was from San Juan, and he realized there was a theater here, and so he migrated here, 71, and we've been in touch all this time.
Yeah.
Amazing.
He's
been my mentor, say the most of the fact that, when you're somebody you can look back to and say, hey, in those days that carried you through all your crisis in art.
Yeah.
You were the one I was called.
And when you moved out of the area, when was this? When did you
I moved out here in 03, living in Hollister all my life, and I've done murals and projects in other cities, and went back out to the Midwest because in 80 I was out there doing murals for a chain of Mexican restaurants called Pedro's. So I went out and just took the risk and found work as a working artist. I went out to do another mural project, and I just stayed on.
You're in Wisconsin now?
Yes, I'm still in Wisconsin, in a little area called Pewaukee Lake.
You're doing mural work, you said, out there, huh?
I've been doing mural work, doing German beer halls, which has been a resurrection of German beer gardens through a local German family called the Weinsgerbers.
Yeah.
And through Hans Weinsgerber III, got the state parks and created these beer gardens. Now it's become very fashionable to have a beer garden in different parts of Wisconsin, and I got hooked up with him and I've been doing beer halls.
And for you, how would you describe your relationship as far as your two artists, your two creative guys?
I was a runaway from the aerospace industry out of Orange County when I came here with Teatro, and to me, going back to having an engineering background, because of when I got out of the service, that's the only thing available for me in the local college, and I wanted to take advantage of GI Bill. Make a long story short. Anyway, I took a theater class one night, and it just blew me away. I said, wow, this is, it just allowed me to open up and all this, and yet, it was, and I was going to Orange Coast College in Orange County, Costa Mesa, and very limited roles, and then my drama director, he says, you ever heard of Luis Valdez? And I go, well, no. He goes, well, he's tied with Cesar Flores. I go, well, that's good. Let's see. He goes, they're having a festival or some gathering or something. You want to go? I go, hell yeah, let's go. So we went, and that was history. Ran away with the circus. It's just that I found a vehicle.
That's basically what happened to me.
I was doing these guys, youngsters with a lot of talent to me. Just wait, man, we got to keep generating this.
I was going to University of California, Santa Cruz, in 1969 and 70, and first year, Vietnam War was happening, and the chaos of the moratorium, and just dealing with the fact that you had a lottery number 15. They had a performance at the university with Teatro Campesino, and it blew me away. I had never seen anything like it. And I was hooked with the fact that who are these people, and how come they're so talented? Just incredible. And they were talking about my culture, which I had no clue, and I finally found an identity. That night was kind of like, I know these people, I know these situations, but they were doing it in theater. I was completely blown away, and ever since then, I kind of been, and I joined the Teatro in '71, but it was short-lived, but the influence, it carried on all my life.
Yeah. And how would you describe your artwork? How would you describe your history and what you do?
I was one of those fortunate souls. I was kind of a natural, so I cultivated it and kept challenging, pushing myself. And as you go to Hollister, I have paintings everywhere. And I decided that, you know, it was just a natural thing, an act of God, and I just kept pursuing, evolving, and now I'm doing corporate murals, you know, that people call me. People invest into these corporations, these German beer gardens, halls that are now happening in the Midwest and the South, and they're monstrosities, and I'm setting templates for these corporations doing murals, which is very natural, and I do it all freehand.
Yeah, so the process, when you say freehand, what is the process?
I just set
of
it
an
up,
artist?
give me an idea, I look at it, and I figure out how I put it together and scale what's going to work. You know, like I'll show you in a moment. I did a 100-foot mural, and everything had to be placed in timeline. It just you know, doing it for so long, you know, you test your skills to the limit, and it was a toughie. One of the hardest things I ever had. I really had to do. And you pay for money, you got to produce. You know, day in day out, whether you like it or not. So I learned to be persistent and courageous. Actually, it's like, oh my God, what am I doing here?
Yeah.
You know that mural that's, I don't know if it's still there, the side of where the parking lot is? By the theater there?
It's
the
across from
movie
the
theater?
vault on the theater.
On the wall?
Yeah.
Painted that
He's the
20
one
years
that
ago.
painted
Oh, wow, okay.
I did the Harley Davis. I did Johnny's. I did Marlon Brando. And
Oh, you did?
all
Okay.
those signs. And then if you go,
Doña Esther's, the
Doña
little
Esther's
back room.
down here.
Awesome.
All those paintings in the little back
Just
room.
the mission paint. You know, it's just one of those things. You know, it's like, you know, you paint to survive. You survive to paint.
Yeah.
And other jobs along the way. I was a chef. You know, I painted houses. You know.
You were a chef too, huh?
Yeah, I mean, it's just part of the art. I got to learn how I was good at it, cooking. I had to figure out how to make a living. So in between painting a mural or going to work on the wharf in Santa Cruz, or, you know, and
The wharf as well, huh?
yeah, I worked in places like in Hawaii, and my older brother was a chef. And
I don't know how long you've been here, but how long have you been in this area?
10 years now. Plus another 2 years before.
The catalyst, you know where the
Yeah,
catalyst?
of course.
Well, the walls used to be a whole bunch of murals,
back in 1978,
and it was like a cat, you know, turning
it was a transition of the 60-foot wall I did in the Catalyst downstairs with Main Stage, 1978, where it was. I got it for the idea from the Mayan Bonaparte murals, you know, and for this gentleman guy named Randall Kane was the owner, and he was a very wealthy man. He says, I want you to paint this thing, so we did, and it was 76 and 8. It was a huge mural. And then I did a 90-foot Chinese restaurant. I built a 11 4-way canvas paint mural. It was a mural for a Chinese restaurant. It was 3,000 years of Chinese hand scroll painting. You know, I was getting pretty exotic out there when I was in my 30s. You know.
So you were doing murals before it was sort of in.
Yeah,
to do
I first
murals.
painting I did in '75,
Yeah.
and then I went to Maui and with my brother there, and I did a mural there. I built for a little bar, a hexagon mural of this little area called Happy Valley in Maui, downtown Wailuku, and I painted these Hawaiian gods, ilis, in this little village, and now it's in the Maui Museum of Art. Big panel.
Awesome, yeah.
So I've done a lot of stuff, you know, and now it's like at 67 to do, you know, massive paintings, and when investors are investing blindly, and the guy says, I got the guy. So, no pressure.
Yeah.
But I actually moved from LA back to Milwaukee.
Right.
There's a guy named, God, I remember his name, last name is, God, man, I met the main man. He just moved everything back
Sure.
to Milwaukee, and he opened up a new little brewery.
Yep.
And they're bringing back all the old beers as a craft beer motif.
Yeah.
You know, all these little tappers. They're made Schlitz. You got Blatz. You got, you know, old style. All these German Milwaukee beers that have since, you know, they're not mainstream any longer.
Right.
And now Pap is becoming more mainstream again.
Yeah. So
You
you're
know?
doing that.
So I have an opportunity to go and do murals for banquet rooms that they have there. You know, those people I've known for years, and created a great friendship. This friend of mine named Jim and Karen Hartle, and they do all the tours at the Pabst Brewery, and it's buzzing up there because I mean, 14 years ago, well, you know, it was Dead Hill
Yeah.
for a long time.
Right.
Now it's a completely different.
Yeah, it's kind of hip
complex.
to like Pabst now.
Yeah, it's hip to drink that. But I know
Great.
those people really well, and they've really supported me. And again, one man has introduced me to everything I've changed in the last 10 years is Hans Weinsberger the third. And I hope he gets this somewhere down the road, you know.
And Cesar, the new show, and this ties in with that. You mentioned what's special about the new show that's coming.
Well, it's an extended version of the previous, but what is special to me is that it's basically like a historical journey of the teatro, and of course we're the veteranos. I mean, so it's my personal journey, and
coming back, they're going back to the basics now, man, with the
all
whole young crew, and they're all enthusiastic, and I'm just amazed how these young chavalitos are really into it. You know what I mean? It makes me proud to say, hey, they're carrying on the torch.
It takes me back to, that passion, that energy that we had when we were at that stage.
And that's what it was. When I first found teatro, that's what it was. It was the passion to be artist. And they were artists. I'm like, who are these people? And, after that, I joined them after that. I came home because they were in San Juan. I helped maybe move them here when Luis was teaching at university. And I was met a gentleman named Manuel Santana in Santa Cruz, California when I was first year at university. And he bought the Hardines over here. And I was one of the first people to go work for him and laid all that brick down and painted those buildings, 70, 71. And Cesar stumbled upon us, 71, 70? And he was part of the group. That's how we hooked up because, we all congregated. The energy was here in San Juan. And Santana gave us the avenue to do it.
This new generation just keeping that motion going, and they're creating they're bringing their own energy and making that old energy come back alive.
But they're taking on the traditional Luis Valdez classic. You know what I'm saying? It's a whole nother learning experience to the young generation about La Carta. What was that about, was it the Mexican Revolution or was it 1965, right? So
it's like a historical journey.
So that's what I'm saying. He's going back to the basics, and then he's bringing these kids up along to, and some of these kids, they're all well mannered and amazingly.
They're not kids.
And they're not kids.
They're young adults.
Young adults, man. But they got their.
They're very talented.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm amazed.
Yeah.
We struggled, training ourselves and teaching ourselves.
I think we got $30 a month when we were living in Gilroy, and we were getting frijoles and arroz for days.
But anyway, they're very talented, and it just shows. I'm just glad that we have this venue still in operation. And because a lot of people come through here.
A lot of people.
And
famous people, man. Freddie Fender and Henry Darrow and, who else? I'm just saying that.
Yeah. We don't want to throw names on, but we got a whole list.
We have
a whole list. But
let's throw any names.
They'll probably see it.
But again,
it's a family.
And Luis became part of the community, automatically. Because he moved his parents here, and everybody lived here, and this was the perfect place for him to be, man. Just to get his creative process here. It's quiet. It's it's a very spiritual place. I'm not gonna say it's God's country because everybody says that, but
no, it's spiritual.
It's a very spiritual place, man. Yeah. Cool. So that's how I look at it. I come home, and sometimes, like I'm in Wisconsin, and I'm alone out there. I'm doing this stuff. I felt empty. I come here this time around and I'm recharged, like you told me. It's a whole new resurgence for me. I'm ready to give my time into doing which I'm doing.
Yeah.
And I needed that for my own personal salvation.
Does this feel more artistic or creative than some of the other stuff you've done? I don't know how you would describe that sort of thing.
It's just giving back to teatro.
Mm-hmm. Right.
With all means necessary.
Yeah.
And to these faithful people, Rosa, Cesar, and these people who have, donated their lives basically to teatro, being actors and artists. And this is Grand Central Station. This is Mecca right here, and this is ground zero for Chicano theater, and he's all over the world.